So in today's class, we are going to start with FEM formulation of a 3D body for general loading. So let us consider a body of arbitrary shape and size. We are not very much interested in what is the exact shape and size of the body. It can be anything. It can be a bus, it can be a building, it can be a slab, it can be a photo frame, it can be laptop screen, anything. So therefore, we are showing this body by an arbitrary shape. Are you with me, Ranjit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And on this body now, I'm going to show two things. One is support conditions, or we also call them as boundary conditions. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I am going to call it as a support. And second thing is loading. So in loading, we have already discussed that there are three types of loads. Four types to be precise. One is point load. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So point load. Then second is line load. What is the unit of point load? Point load will have a unit of a force. So let us say it is kilonewton. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Line load will have a unit of force per meter run or force per unit length. So kilonewton per meter. Happy? Then we are going to have body loads. We are going to have body loads. They have the unit of kilonewton per meter cube. And then we are going to have surface loads. What will be the unit of surface load, Ranjit? Can you tell me?
Kilonewton, sir.
What will be the unit, Ranjit?
Kilonewton, sir.
No, it will be kilonewton per meter square. How can it be kilonewton? Surface load is the area load which has a unit of kilonewton per meter square. Point load has a unit of kilonewton. Line load has a unit of kilonewton per meter, and body loads have the unit of kilonewton per meter cube. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us have some notations used for this kind of loads. So let me call, I will denote point loads always by P, let us say. Are you with me? So the
Yes, sir.
notation will be Pi. What is Pi? Ith point load. So you can have 10 point loads. So I will call them P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6 up to P10. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then we are for line load. Uh, let us use the letter W is already used for Z directional deformation. So let us not use W. So what can we use? Let us use it as Q. Let us use Q as the suffix. So what is Qi? In general, on a body, there can be line loads at 10 different locations. So everywhere the intensity of loading in kilonewton per meter will be given by Qi. So Q1, Q2, Q3 up to Qn. These are the line loads that are present on a body, let us say. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we are going to have surface load. What is the unit of, what is the notation for surface load? We can have it as SI. So let us say there are 10 locations, 10 areas on the body where the pressure is applied. So we call those loads as S1, S2, S3, S4, S10. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And then comes the body loads. So for body loads, let us use the notation gamma I. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us say there are n body loads. So you will have gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3, gamma 4, so on and so forth. On a particular volumes of the body. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us show these loads on this surface as a indicators. So I will show point load as P1, then you can have P2. Mind you, this is a 3D body. That means it has all the 3 dimensions which are significant. So therefore, these loads can be oriented in any random way. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So XYZ. So I am going to show them these loads as P1, P2 up to Pn. And let me follow the color code now. This point loads I am going to denote by blue color. Let me choose another color for surface loads, line loads. So line loads, let me denote it by a red color. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And on this line, this is the intensity of load. Let us say it may be constant or it may be varying. So this is Q1 on the first line. You have a second line where on the body where you have line load acting there. The intensity may vary. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to call it as Q2. And like this, you are going to have Qn. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so you have a line load, you have surface, so we have shown point load. Now let us show surface load by another color. So surface load I am going to show in black. So let us say this is the surface over which this loading is acting. Are you able to imagine a pressure load on this surface?
Yes, sir.
So I will call it as S1, and such n surfaces are going to be there. So I'm going to call the nth load as Sn. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
By the way, these line loads, they act over a length. So I will denote their length as L1, L2 up to Ln. Okay. Then this surface loads, they act over the area. So I'm going to denote those surfaces by ds1 or da1. Let us call it as da1, or let us call it as a1 up to an. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And volume load cannot be shown. Volume load I will just show it is acting constant over the entire volume for the sake of simplification, and that load has an intensity of gamma I. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So all the terms related to that volume load, let us choose another color. I will write in this color. Happy?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
apart from this, now the body may have boundary conditions. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So for example, let us say all the points along this boundary are fixed. Happy? So
Yes.
we can show them something like this, fixed or hinged, whatever it is. So these are boundary conditions. Happy? Now tell me, uh, there are going to be reactions corresponding to the boundary conditions. Do you agree with me? Ranjit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So reactions are also considered as the loads on the body. Are you with me? Actions and reaction both constitute the matrix of loading on the body. So how do we, means what do we call these reactions? How do we take care of these reactions? We will see that in a while. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, so let us start with the finite element formulation. What is the first task that we need to do the finite element formulation? under the action of all these loads and these support conditions, the body is going to deform. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So when body deforms, in the deformed position, I have to write potential energy as a function of x, y, and z directional displacements of all points on the body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
As the body deforms, each and every point on the body is going to have x, y, and z directional deformations. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, so जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो. Point number 1. All points on the body I will say almost all. Why? Because if there is a support, then there may not be a deformation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So almost all points on the body have x, y, z directional translational deformation. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Translational deformation. And mind you, we write down the potential energy of a body as a function of these XYZ deformations of all points on the body. But in which state? In the deformed state. Are you with me? So what is the next step? Next step is we have to write down potential energy of a body as a function of deformations at each and every point on the body. So how many points are there on the body? Tell me, Ranjit. How many points are there on this body? Ranjit, are you able to hear me? So how many points are there on this body? Tell me, Anuja.
So infinite.
Infinite. So if I were to write down potential energy of a body as a function of displacements at all the points, 3 displacements at each point, and on all such points, I cannot simply say that potential energy as a function of infinite displacements. No, instead of that, what I'm going to say is potential of energy of a body as a function of displacement field. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So in the last class, we have defined what is a displacement field. Displacement field means U, V, and W. X, Y, and Z directional deformations are functions of X, Y, Z. You change X, Y, Z. That means you change the location and you will have different value of U, V, and W. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, we call U, V, W as displacement fields and not simply the displacements at a point. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going to do this. Now, this is the step that we have to write down. Now, tell me, what is the expression for potential energy? And this is to be written in the deformed configuration. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is in deformed configuration. Now tell me, what is the expression for potential energy? What is the symbol for potential energy is V. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And how do we write the potential energy? We write potential energy as a sum of strain energy. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Strain energy minus loss of potential of external load. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Loss of potential, जो कि डिफॉर्मेशन हो चुका है तो कुछ ना कुछ तो पोटेंशियल लॉस का लॉस हुआ होगा. So we write it as loss of potential of.
So in the last lecture, we have written change of potential of external.
It's one and the same. I can call it as, I know, yeah, loss and gain. Let us not go into that. You're right. Let us call it as change of potential. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Change of potential of external what? External loads. Happy?
Sir.
तो इसमें से हम पहला टर्म अभी लिखने वाले. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to write down the expression for strain energy. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do we denote strain energy? We write it by notation U. U is the notation used for work done as well, but in this context, we will denote strain energy by U. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Strain energy. And now we are going to take a digress. I want to write down the expression for strain energy, and for that I need to take a digress. Now let us consider a example. So this is digress. Digress means we are deviating from the main topic. We are trying to address analysis of this body using finite element formulation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But we are taking a digress because we have to understand the way in which strain energy is written first. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us say a bar of length L made up of steel is hanging from the roof, and you apply a force equal to P gradually. This force is applied gradually. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to imagine this? This has been applied gradually. Now, can you tell me what is the work done by this force on the body? What is the work done?
So PL upon AE.
PL upon AE, is that the work done, or what should I do? First of all, can you calculate what is the deformation?
Okay, sir.
What will be the deformation corresponding to this? Delta L?
Delta L.
Do you agree with me? And
Yes, sir.
that delta L is given by PL by AE. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Of course, we are into the linear elastic zone. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, I have gradually increased this P from 0 to P. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
इस P को सडनली अप्लाई नहीं किया है. कैसे अप्लाई किया है? 0 to P तक ग्रेजुअली इंक्रीज किया है. हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
Can I draw the force versus deformation curve of this bar under this gradually applied P? Draw कर सकते हैं. अब कैसे आएगा वो? It is going to be a line because we are in linear elastic zone. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Its slope will tell you something about the axial stiffness, which will be equal to AE by L. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
AE by L is going to be the axial slope of this line. This is force P. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And this is deformation delta L. Now tell me, what quantity of this graph can be designated as a work done? कौन सी क्वांटिटी है जिसको मैं वर्क डन बोल सकता हूँ? Area under the curve. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Area under the curve is going to give me the work done. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And in absence of any loss of this work in the form of heat or sound, whatever it is, this entire work done is going to get stored in the body as long as it is elastic. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So this strain energy U stored in the body is going to be equal to work done. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Work done on the body by gradually applied P. By gradual P. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me what is the strain energy then? What is the area under this curve?
It is half.
So that half factor you had not told. आपने
Yes.
बोला था P into delta L. P into
Yes,
delta L is not possible because P was not existing right from the 0th second. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
P was gradually applied. So therefore P into delta L cannot be written, because to write P into delta L as a work done, P must prevail right from the beginning. But I did not say so. I said that P is applied gradually. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the work done? Tell me. Half
Half into delta L into
P into delta L. Do you
Yes.
agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now can I rearrange this? How do I write this work done in terms of stress and strain? So अगर stress and strain के terms में लिखना है तो मुझे यहाँ पे P by A करना पड़ेगा. At equilibrium, P by A is equal to the stress. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
फिर इसको A से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. Happy?
Yes,
और
sir.
फिर डेल्टा L लिखना पड़ेगा. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now this half P by A becomes stress multiplied by A. What is the formula for delta L? PL by AE.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now इसमें से A चला जाएगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just a minute. What has happened? P half work done is equal to half P into E. That's correct. Just a minute.
So we are taking in terms of stress and strain, right?
Yes.
So if we are taking P as stress, that is P by A. So can
No,
we take
let
delta
us
L
not
as
replace this. No, let us not replace this delta L. Instead of that, what I will do is I will simply divide this by L and multiply it by L. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So is it half stress into strain multiplied by A into L? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So strain energy stored in the body is equal to half stress into strain into A into L. Now, can you tell me what is A into L? A is the cross-sectional area of the bar.
Yes, sir.
Happy? Multiplied by L. Is it the volume
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
volume of the body bar? If I ask you now, what is the strain energy stored in the body per unit volume? So strain energy stored in the per unit volume, वो कितना होगा बताओ? Half stress into strain. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So just remember this expression. Strain energy stored in the body per unit volume is given as half stress into strain. Now it is not required that stress and strain like this condition, like this bar will remain constant throughout the body. यहाँ पे अगर आपने देखा तो each and every location stress and strain is constant. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
But that
Yes,
need
sir.
not be the case. Stress and strain may vary in general loading scenario, and therefore we will have to use expression for strain energy stored per unit volume and then integrate it over the volume in order to get the total strain energy. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अब जरा मुझे यहाँ पे ध्यान देके बताओ, if I divide the volume by volume, where do I reach? I reach at a point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अगर वॉल्यूम को वॉल्यूम से डिवाइड किया जाए तो मैं कहां पे पहुंचता हूं? आई रीच एट ए पॉइंट. सो देयरफॉर ये जो क्वांटिटी दिख रहा है ना, स्ट्रेन एनर्जी पर यूनिट वॉल्यूम, इट इज डिफाइंड एट ए पॉइंट. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
Why? Because I have divided volume by volume, thereby I have reached at a point. So what is the strain energy stored at a point? It is nothing but strain energy stored per unit volume, and which is given as half stress into
Strain.
strain. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now digress continues. Digress still continues. Now यहाँ पे बताओ, यहाँ पे stress कौन से direction में था? If I call this direction as y, if I call this direction as z, and coming out of the plane of boat towards you is x, तो क्या यहाँ पे stress सिर्फ z direction? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Y direction में था. I'm sorry, अनुजा.
Yes, right. Yes, right, sir. So it was in
Yeah.
Y direction.
And then strain also considered, the strain considered was also in y direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now let us look at the general scenario. In general, there can be stress sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma zz, tau xx, tau yy, tau xx, tau xy, tau xz, and tau yz. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So now question is, how do I write down the expression for strain energy stored per unit volume? If the state of stress is not uniaxial, it is triaxial and complex state of stress. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If state of stress is multi-axial कॉम्प्लेक्स, दोनों मीनिंग को, दोनों वर्ड्स को मीनिंग है. व्हाट डू आई मीन बाय मल्टी एक्शियल? दैट मीन्स सिग्मा एक्स ही प्रिवेल हो रहा है, ऐसे नहीं. सिग्मा एक्स, सिग्मा वाई और सिग्मा जेड भी प्रिवेल हो रहा है. आर यू विद मी?
Yes, sir.
एंड व्हाट इज कॉम्प्लेक्स? कॉम्प्लेक्स का मतलब ये है कि सिर्फ नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस या सिर्फ शेयर स्ट्रेसेस, ऐसे नहीं है. अगर सिर्फ नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस रहते, दैट मीन्स इफ देयर वर ओनली सिग्मा एक्स, सिग्मा वाई एंड सिग्मा जेड and all the shear stresses are absent, we call that state of stress as multi-axial for sure, but it is multi-axial direct state of stress because all these stresses are normal to the planes on which they act. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If multi-axial state of stress prevails, but all these stresses are shear stresses, that means tau xy, tau yx, tau xz, tau zx, and tau yz, tau zy, all of them prevail, but sigma xx, sigma yy, and sigma zz are absent, then we call that state of stress as multi-axial but shear. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So we have two simplified states of stress possible. One is multi-axial direct state of stress, multi-axial shear state of stress. But here I am talking about multi-axial complex state of stress. Complex का मतलब क्या है? On one or the more planes, both direct and shear stress components are prevalent. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in general, for multi-axial complex state of stress, how does a stress tensor look like? Stress tensor कैसे रहता है? बताओ.
So sigma xx, sigma
You have sigma xx, then
sigma yy,
yy, then
sigma zz,
sigma zz,
then tau xy,
tau xy.
tau yx,
No, now let us follow a certain sequence. Tau xy, then tau uh, uh, xz,
xz, then tau
and
yz.
tau yz. Are you with me? ये sequence
Yes, sir.
follow करते हैं for time being. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And you know that tau xy and tau yx are same. Tau xz and tau zx are same, and tau yz and tau zy are same in magnitude and reverse in sign. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm not going to take them as a independent stress components. So this is 6 cross 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is 6 cross 1. अब जरा यहाँ पे देखो, when I calculate the strain energy, though tau xy and tau yx are same, the strain energy needs to be added, right? Tau xy की भी strain energy separate consider करनी पड़ेगी और tau yx की भी separate करनी पड़ेगी. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So you will later on see that when we look at the constitutive relationships, the relationship between stress and strain, in shear stresses, you have a term which is multiplied by twice. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
That is to take care of tau xy and tau yx in the single, means without considering that component explicitly in stress tensor. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us look at at that time I will remind you that I had told this point. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, strain tensor, how does it look like? It is also going to be 6 cross 1, and we are going to write only corresponding components of strain. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we are going to have epsilon xx, then we are going to have epsilon yy,
YY.
then we are going to have epsilon zz, then gamma xy, then gamma
XZ.
xz.
Gamma YZ.
This sequence will change a little bit later depending upon the standard way of writing the stress and strain tensors. I may change this sequence of shear strengths later on, but the concept remains same. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is now 6 cross 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, how each of these stress components and strain components are going to take part in storing the strain energy. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So how do I write strain energy per unit volume in this case? So I am going to write down that now. Strain energy stored per unit volume will be equal to half. Half तो वैसे के वैसे रहेगा.
Yes, sir.
Then I am going to have stress component for sure here. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And then I am going to have strain component. But now stress stress is a matrix of 6 cross 1. Do you agree with me? Stress tensor
Yes, sir.
is a matrix of 6 cross 1. Epsilon is a matrix of 6 cross 1. Is multiplication possible?
Yes, sir.
No. How? How multiplication possible? To have multiplication of two matrices. Chalo, let us do this. You have ABC. Again, digress continues. ABC multiplied by CDE. अब ही जाके multiplication possible है ना? देखो.
Yes, sir.
A gets multiplied by, so what is the size of this matrix? 3 cross
3 cross
1. What is the size of this matrix? Number of rows is
1.
1, number of columns is 3. Now, what is the condition for multiplication of matrices to be possible? Number of columns of the first matrix must match with number of rows of the other matrix. ये दो match होने चाहिए. And what is the result? The resulting matrix is going to be of the size of number of rows of first matrix multiplied by number of columns of second matrix. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तो इन
Yes, sir.
दोनों को multiplication क्या रहने वाला है? 3 cross 3 रहने
3
वाला है.
cross 3.
And how do we do multiplication? So it is AC. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then you are going to have AD. Then you are going to have AE. Then BC, BD, and BE. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then CC, CD, and C. This is the multiplication. So for multiplication of the two matrices to be possible, क्या होना चाहिए? एक तो number of rows, number of columns of first matrix must match with number of rows of other matrix. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
दूसरी चीज, ये जो strain energy per unit volume है, is it going to be a matrix or is it going to be a scalar? It is going to be a number.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
How can strain energy stored per unit volume be represented in terms of matrix? What nonsense! हो ही नहीं सकता. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So it is a single scalar number. If it is so, first of all, I have in my mind that there are three conditions that must be satisfied in the expression on right hand side. Sigma xx and epsilon xx is a pair. Their multiplication should occur. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Sigma yy and epsilon yy is a pair. उनका multiplication होना चाहिए. I cannot multiply sigma yy by epsilon xx. That is nothing. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So when multiplication has to occur, it has to occur between the corresponding strain components and stress components. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
If it is so, अब जरा देखो मैं क्या कह रहा हूं. Instead of writing down this stress as 6 cross 1, let us see if the multiplication is possible here. देखो, number of columns of first matrix are not matching with number of rows of second matrix. Possible नहीं है multiplication. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
That multiplication will be possible and even the first condition will be respected simply by taking transpose of stress tensor. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I take transpose of stress tensor, what will be its size? It will be 1 cross 6. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you with me? 1
Yes, sir.
cross 6. The moment I say this is 1 cross 6, number of columns of first matrix start matching with number of rows of second matrix. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And the resulting product is going to be of this size, which is 1 cross 1. That means it is a scalar number. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, if I write it in this fashion, at least mathematically it sounds okay. I get a scalar number and multiplication is possible. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now let us see physically if it is okay. For that, I will write down now the transpose of sigma matrix. So transpose of sigma matrix क्या होगा बताओ? Sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma zz. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Tau xy, tau xz, and tau
YZ.
YZ. This is the transpose of stress tensor. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Multiplied by strain tensor. What is strain tensor? Let us borrow it from here. Strain tensor is this. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I were to multiply these two matrices, the first matrix is 1 by 6. First number denotes number of rows and second number denotes number of columns. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So this is half. So what is the expression that I am getting? Half, jara dekho, in bracket. I am going to multiply sigma xx by epsilon xx.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Plus sigma yy by epsilon yy. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Plus sigma zz into epsilon zz. Plus tau xy into gamma xy plus tau xz into gamma xz.
YZ.
Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Plus tau yz into gamma yz. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So that's what we wanted physically. The corresponding stress component should be multiplied by the corresponding strain component. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So therefore, half stress tensor transpose multiplied by strain tensor gives you the strain energy store per unit volume. Are you convinced with this?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me, Anuja?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was the digress. So let us mark. Let me mark the. This was. Let us come back to the expression that we were writing. We have to now write down the strain energy stored in the body due to all these external loads and the corresponding deformation. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do I write the strain energy? So to write down the strain energy, I have to consider ये जो body दिख रहा है ना, in on this body, I am going to construct a infinitesimally small cube. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This cube is located at x coordinate of x. So if I were to tell this cube, denote this cube by point, let me denote it by point r. Then what are the coordinates of r? R corresponds to x, comma y, comma z. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I have taken an arbitrary point on a body. This is x, this is y. I hope I'm consistent with what I have drawn. Yes, and this is z.
Yes, sir.
So I have considered an arbitrary point on the body r, and its coordinates are x, y, z. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Around this point, I have constructed a infinitesimally small cube of dimensions dx, dy by dz. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is dz. I'm just showing that cube in a zoomed view. So this is dz. This is dx. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And this is dy. A infinitesimally small cube is constructed around that point B. Now tell me, this dx, dy, dz should be how small? Infinitesimally small is okay. This is pleasing answer to a mathematician. But to a physicist, I must understand dx, dy, dz. How small they should be? They should be so small such that over which I can assume that the stress tensor and strain tensor are going to remain unaltered. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So sigma xx की जो value है, if I choose another point which has different coordinates than x, y, z, it will change. So dx, dy, dz should be so small such that I maintain myself at r, and sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma zz, tau xy, tau yz, tau xz, and all these corresponding strain components are not changing over all these three mutually orthogonal planes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So dx, dy, dz should be so small such that this condition is achieved. So now I can safely assume that over this infinitesimally small volume, sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma zz, tau xy, tau xz, and tau yz are all are going to remain constant. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, what is the strain energy stored in this infinitesimally small cube? So I am going to call it as du. What is du? Du is the strain energy stored in a cube. So it is strain energy. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Stored in the cube of or in the parallelepiped of size dx, dy, dz. Happy?
Yes, sir.
How do I write the strain energy stored? At point R, the second condition on dx, dy, dz. Over the entire dx, dy, and dz, I should be able to assume a constant value of u, v, and w, which are x, y, and z directional deformations. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So dx, dy, dz कितने small होने चाहिए? वो इतने small होने चाहिए कि स्ट्रेस टेंसर की वैल्यू सब जगह पे dx, dy, dz में सब जगह पे सेम रहनी चाहिए. That is the first observation. Second observation, second condition, dx, dy, dz should be so small such that whatever is the value of u, v, and w, that is x directional deformation, y directional deformation, and z directional deformation at r, I can assume that it is constant on this entire cube or on this entire 3D small geometry of volume dx, dy, dz. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So r के जहाँ पे r के वहां पे जो u, v, and w है, mind you, u is x directional translation. Are you with
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes, sir.
Translation. V is y directional translation, and w is z directional translation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Whatever is the x directional, bidirectional, and z directional translation is prevalent at R can assume to be same over this entire volume of the cube dx, dy, dz. ऐसे होना चाहिए, इतने dx, dy, dz small होने चाहिए. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So infinitesimally small is the pleasing answer for a mathematician. As a physicist, we have to understand how small should be in reality. Now, strain energy stored in this dx, dy, dz. मैं कैसे लिखूं इसको? So as I said, the stress and strain components are going to remain constant over here. So I can write down the strain energy stored per unit volume as half stress transpose. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Stress
sir.
tensor का transpose multiplied by strain tensor का transpose, yes, multiplied by strain tensor at R. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
These stress and strain tensors should be evaluated at R. This is the strain energy stored per unit volume. And if I were to find out the strain energy stored in this cube, what should I do? I should multiply it by the volume of the cube. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Dx, dy, dz. Do you agree with me? Now I will drop this suffix at R. That is understood. So what is the strain energy stored in this small cube which is constructed around R? It is half stress tensor transpose at R into strain tensor at R multiplied by the volume of the cube, which is dx, dy, dz. Happy?
Yes, sir.
अगर ये स्ट्रेस टेंसर और स्ट्रेन टेंसर dx, dy, dz पे सेम नहीं रहे तो मैं इस तरीके से स्ट्रेन एनर्जी लिख ही नहीं पाऊंगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have written down now the strain energy stored in the vicinity of the R. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What should be the total strain energy stored? So therefore, total strain energy stored must be integration of du over the entire volume. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
It is not dV, it is integration of du. Du is the strain energy stored in this infinitesimally small geometry. If I integrate it over entire volume of the body, I should get the strain energy stored in the entire body. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So how do I write this? I'm going to write it integration over the volume half stress tensor transpose multiplied by strain tensor into dx, dy, dz. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This can be further simplified to u equal to, I can take half common outside, half integration over the volume is in fact a triple integration. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So it is integration with reference to x, y, and z. Whenever you see incremental quantities like dx, dy, and dz in your expression, you have to understand for any physical interpretation, integration is pending. इंटीग्रेशन किए बिना इससे कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now I am going to write down the triple integration. So it is integration over x, it is integration over y, integration over z. Z limits and x limits are within the boundary of the body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is going to be equal to half stress transpose, agreed, multiplied by strain multiplied by dx, dy, dz. Happy?
So we have taken half outside, right?
Yeah. So half is not required here. You're right. Right?
Yes, sir.
अब जरा ध्यान दो मैं क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. What are our primary unknowns in solution of any problem in structural mechanics? क्या primary unknowns रहते हैं? The primary unknowns are U, V, and W. That means displacement fields are the primary unknowns. Once I know U, V, W, that is x directional, y directional, and z directional translation at any point on the body, on every point on the body, I am done. I can do whatever I want. I can draw SFD, BMD. I can find out principal planes, principal stresses, deformations, and whatnot. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So primary unknowns क्या रहते हैं बताओ? Primary unknowns रहते हैं U, V, W at each and
UVW.
every point on the body. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So U मतलब displacement fields. U is x directional translation, V is y directional translation, and Z is Z and W is Z directional translation. Now question, clicker question for you. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Question. Why did I choose only U, V, W? Why I did not choose rotations about x, y, and z axis? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Y, U, V, and W. Why not? Why not theta x, theta y, and theta z? Are you understanding my question?
Yes, sir.
तो जरा देखो ये जो जनरलाइज फॉर्मुलेशन है उसमें the rotation is a byproduct of differential UVWs. मतलब क्या है मैं बताने की कोशिश करता हूँ. Let us say you are considering a 2D body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And you are considering two very closely spaced points on that body. This is point P, and this is point Q. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This point P has a coordinates XP, YP, and ZP. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is X, this is Y. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And coming out of the plane of board is Z. तो P के coordinates क्या है? XP, YP, and ZP. Q के coordinates क्या है बताओ? Let us
QP,
call it as
YP,
XQ,
ZP.
XQ, YQ, and ZQ. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
And these coordinates are in undeformed configuration. undeformed configuration. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
These are the coordinates in undeformed configuration. After deformation, this body assumes a shape like this. Let us say this is deformed shape. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And P occupies a new position. I'm going to call it as P1. And Q occupies a new position. I'm going to call it as Q1. Are you with me? So
Yes,
P1
sir.
and Q1 are newly occupied positions. Happy?
Yes, sir.
What are the coordinates of P1? So P shifts to, let us say its Y and Z coordinates remain same. Y and Z coordinates do not change. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Only X coordinate changes. And I'm going to call therefore it as XP1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Similarly for Q, its Y coordinate and Z coordinates remain unaltered. I'm considering a situation, imaginary situation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And X coordinates, however, changes to Q1. Now what I'm going to do is this undeformed configuration of P and Q and deformed configuration of P and Q in same coordinate system, I'm going to separately show you here. Are you with me? This
Yes,
is
sir.
point P. This is point Q. Their Y and Z coordinates, they remain same. So these points do not move in Y direction or Z direction. Happy? But the
Yes,
X
sir.
coordinate is changing. So P has now shifted along X somewhere here, and that is P. Do you agree with me? P1.
P1.
And this is U of P. U of P. Why I called it as U of P? Because it is X directional default translation of point P. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And let us say this is U of Q. So Q has moved more in comparison to P. But this is X directional translation of Q. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Has this line element rotated about Z axis? देखो, from undeformed configuration to deformed configuration, is there a rotation? Anuja?
Yes, sir.
I will draw a line parallel to this PQ, original PQ. So ये line है ना?
Yes, sir.
So is there a rotation theta
Yes, sir.
about Z axis? Has this rotation
sir.
occurred about Z axis? Yes. So
Yes, sir.
even if I do not consider theta Z as a primary unknown, it comes out based on the differential values of u, v, w at two neighboring points. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
On similar lines, you will very well understand now. In general, xp, yp, and zp will change to xp1, yp1, and zp1. So it is going, and q, xq, yq, zq in undeformed configuration will change to q1, xq1, yq1, and zq1 in deformed configuration. Therefore, you are going to have rotation of this line element about all the axes x, y, and z in general. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
that is captured by the difference of u, v, w at p and q. So we need not consider these unknowns separately. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So just because I have considered translations as my preliminary unknowns does not mean that I have not taken into account rotations. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Rotations are implicitly taken care of. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us go to the last point of today's session. We are going to now write down this U in terms of U, V, and W. Why? Because if those are the primary unknowns, I should be casting the equations in terms of U, V, W, not in terms of stress and strain. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो अब जरा देखो क्या ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हैं हम इसको. We are going to convert this strain energy in terms of displacement fields, that is U, V, and W. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me what is the relationship between stress and strain? Stress is equal to E times strain.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me? But this is
Yes.
the relationship in one direction, one dimension. Do you agree with me? What is
Yes, sir.
generalized Hooke's law? So generalized Hooke's law we have taken care of earlier. I have told you this sigma stress tensor will be given as 6x6 matrix, which is called as constitutive matrix, multiplied by strain tensor. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is 6 cross 1. This is 6 cross 1. This has a size of 6 cross 6. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And we call this matrix as constitutive matrix. I denote it by letter C. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if it is plane strain problem, you are going to have elements of this matrices in a different fashion. Plane stress problem के लिए अलग होगा, general problem के लिए अलग होगा. Are you with me? If it is
Yes, sir.
isotropic material, all the elements are isotropic and homogeneous material, all the elements of C matrix can be written in only terms of only two constants. One is E and another one is Poisson's ratio.
Yes, sir.
Are you with me? But let
Yes,
us
sir.
not go into those details. Those details we will look at later. In general, can I write down stress tensor as C times epsilon? Are you
Yes,
with
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, now I am switching this equation from strain tensor to stress tensor to strain tensor. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me what is the transpose of this stress tensor then? Stress tensor transpose. Bolo, kya hoga? By mathematics, if matrix A is the product of B and C, A transpose is C transpose B transpose. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? ये एप्सिलॉन ट्रांसपोज पहले लेना पड़ेगा एंड देन C ट्रांसपोज करना पड़ेगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is what is the transpose of stress matrix, stress tensor. Are you with me? Now,
Yes,
tell me
sir.
what is the size of this epsilon? 6 cross 1.
Sir,
So what will be the size of its transpose? 1
1
cross
cross
6.
6. Yes, sir.
And this is 6 cross 6. So इसका transpose भी 6 cross 6 होगा. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Number of columns of first matrix are matching with number of rows of second matrix. And the resulting matrix will be 1 cross
1 cross
6.
6.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
And that's what
Yes,
we
sir.
want. Stress tensor का transpose 1 cross 6 रहने वाला है. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have taken stress transpose here. Let us back substitute this in the matrix above. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how do I write stress tensor transpose? Sorry, how do I write this strain energy stored? Tell me. U is equal to half. I will simply write it integration over the volume. You have to understand that it is triple integration. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stress transpose, I am going to write it as epsilon transpose C transpose. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Epsilon dx dy dz. Strain tensor being the function of x, y, and z. Therefore, I can do its integration over the entire volume. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This is for a homogeneous material. This is not a function of x, y, z. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Because
sir.
it is constitutive matrix. It involves material constants. As long as the material is homogeneous, this C matrix is not a function of x, y, z. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So, chalo, so far so good. Now, the last step, and that is the most important step in this formulation. Still, I have written down this strain energy in terms of strain tensor. It is useless. I want to transfer it into primary unknowns, which are displacements. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have strain displacement relations? Yes. कैसे relations है हमारे पास strain displacement relations? So, for example, epsilon xx is equal to dou u by dou x. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
है कि नहीं ऐसा relation? Epsilon
Yes,
yy
sir.
is dou u by dou y, so on and so forth. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So that's those strain displacement relationships we are going to invoke, and we are going to plug it in the definition of epsilon, so that we get this entire strain energy as a function of what? We will get it as a function of displacements, which are primary unknowns. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So this was the last point today. We will take it forward in the next class. in tomorrow's class, I will write down systematically these expressions. We will have the strain energy in terms of displacements, and then we will proceed with minimization of potential energy. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us stop here today.